Hello everybody, welcome to the Spring Invite live from Padova. First weekend of a new format of European Ultimate course with the almighty algorithm ranking teams based on their results. And we come to the end of the season and we'll have a look at all the rankings, top those up, and we'll see who comes out on top and earns those bids to the big show in October. There are, of course, those wildcard bids available for winning the Elite Invite and the Summer Invites, but the Spring Invite's kind of an idea just to help teams get a lot of games in, get a good level of competition all the way through the season. And these are arguably the two hottest looking teams so far for our coverage. We've got Mooncatchers from Brussels, of course, world semi-finalists a couple of years ago out in Cincinnati, and last year's EUCS medalists. Win for the Belgium Open national side at EUC in Limerick, and playing not too far from home, Cotarica on the east coast of Italy, who have a lot of really strong young talent. The youth systems in place in Italian Ultimate are just so strong at the moment, and this roster kind of pays that out, and there should be a really hotly contested game with both sides undefeated so far this weekend. The way the schedule works is we had little crossover games yesterday. The idea is that it's just to kind of help teams get more games in. With 10 teams in total, you play one game against a team from the opposite pool, 4 teams against the four other teams in your own pool, and then you play a placement game at the end, so guaranteeing that each team is able to get 6 games in, as at the end of the season you need 10 in total to be able to earn a bid, and getting those games in nice and early is important. So we'll start by talking about those crossover games. Mooncatchers held off La Fossa to win 13-11 in a rematch of last year's absolutely scorching EUCF semi-final under the lights in the Olympic Stadium in Wrocław. What a game that was. Cotarica Grandes, they beat Panthers from Bern 15-11. Games in their pool. In an all-Italian matchup, Cotarica beat Disco Bolo 15-6. 15-11, they beat Bad Skid, and we mentioned the 15-11 scoreline, of course, versus Panthers. They also beat Catch Up Graz of Austria 15-11 in the morning. So each game by at least 4 points is a pretty dominant showing so far from Cotarica. For Mooncatchers, 15-10 over Disco Bolo. Of course, we mentioned the 13-11 cross against La Fossa. 15-7, they vanquished Catch Up Graz, and a tight 15-13 win over Bad Skid in their last game, which was kind of close all the way through. Just a break shortly before half gave Mooncatchers the advantage. They tacked another one in at the start of the second and then kind of traded out from there. We're going to see Cotarica pulling to Mooncatchers to start. Picked up on the sideline, instant little scuba into the centre. That's the new arrival from Hrut, Tom Blasman, been dominating in the mixed division. And having played with Mooncatchers before at last year's Tom's tourney, he's now made the switch full-time. Dan de Marais, just with a little offload into Bontemps. Blasman fakes down the line. Wyszynski is the reset, but instead he's going to swing to his long-time teammate Ben Ort. Ort was trying downfield. A bid came through, and I think that's going to be an an accepted foul there from Pietro Balducci. Wyszynski trying to squeeze that one down the line, and the cut started and it never quite finished because it was always overthrown. And I think having Dan de Marais be overthrown is not something that we've seen too often in recent times, but on that occasion, Wyszynski didn't quite get that one right, and you see it again. Just maybe too much contact on the back on that left shoulder as well from Balducci, trying his level best to get there. So early break chance here for the Italians. Swung high, but not a problem. Trying to open up the space in the centre of the pitch. Swing is poached, so they're going to take that option. Here is Balducci. Coming underneath is Vici. Inside out, hits the option in the centre, Ferruggio. Cotarica Grandes moving this quite nicely. Again, you see that traditional Italian style. Lots of those weaving passes, the quick disc movement. A little bit behind, but good adjustment made there by Castellani. Balducci, you can see that he really wants the scoring pass, but Mooncatchers filling into the end zone well just to clog those gaps downfield. Under tight coverage, Castellani makes the catch, and Balducci into the end zone. He's got Niccolò Bellafiore, and that is a break for Cotarica to start. This side looks like they mean business this weekend and for the rest of the season as well. And, you know, while you've got to maintain that pace, that presence throughout the rest of the game, it's a long season as well, and this is just the first weekend. Getting off to a great start, again, is never going to hurt. And if you can notch up a win against one of the teams that I think everyone expects to be right at the top end of things at the end of the season, Mooncatchers, that would help your ranking enormously. Here's a replay of the score again, just taking the short little passes outside the end zone. Demarais tries to get a hand in there but can't do so, and those resets a little bit to try and gum up the space downfield, and Cotarica doing the sensible thing, just bounce back and forth until that gap opens up. So we'll see how Moon responds. Going with a side stack on the far side of the field there left. Benoit's in acres of space on this near side. Wind's been a bit blustery today out on the ground, so maybe those overheads, which I think normally we know that Mooncatchers are not afraid of throwing at any opportunity, might just be put in the locker for today, at least for the moment. There's the ambitious shot over the top, going with the blade. It was sinking rapidly, but Ort is able to clasp two hands on, and then a flips little scuba over the top. Here's Ben Yonkers. Some sort of marking infraction there. Force resets, and then he hammers over the top. Glassman down the far side. Demarais looks like he's got some taping and strapping on that right wrist. He finds Bontemps. Bontemps going with the high release. This might invite some pressure. And Blasman went up for it, and he'll be disappointed that he couldn't quite time that and get that. It was, you know, maybe a little bit loftier than it needed to be, and it just tips off his fingertips. A little surprised that Ben Ort didn't try and back that up a little bit stronger, maybe. Another early break opportunity for Cotarica here. But the Belgians trying to trap them on that far sideline. See, just gumming the lane, trying to invite the spicier throw over the top, but they're able to find a little seam to get through it. And then the quick disc movement towards this near side, towards the camera. That one, well, I don't think he was able to get quite underneath that. He wasn't. First time the Italians have surrendered the disc today. Ort to Blasman. Sends to Bontemps. Ort with a compression tied on his right leg. Again, happy to just pop those scoopers over the top. Ort rifles the flick to Bontemps on the far side. Doesn't like the scoring option this time. Again, just Ort really zipping those flicks to Blasman. And then Blasman to Bontemps gets Mooncatchers on the board out one apiece. Maybe not necessarily the full strength of Mooncatchers here this weekend. They've got some some younger players in the team making the trip out to Italy, but it doesn't look like they've really missed too much far this weekend, which is probably exactly what you'd expect of them. I'm watching, wherever you may be, at home in Europe or further afield, whoever you might be cheering on or just enjoying as a neutral, thanks for tuning in here on Solid Sport. Involved in the chat as well. Love to know who you're rooting for, what you'd like to see, what particularly has piqued your interest early on in the season. Big roll curving, blading backhand pull. We're getting a chance to see Cotarica's O-line offense. There's the deep shot, and it's undercooked, and that's easily just almost dismissively slapped to the ground. Clinch finds an option underneath. They've got an option deep, and you know Mooncatchers are always going to put it, especially when you've got a receiver the calibre of Lynch. Now, towards the break side, John Bakeman's cap turned backwards as ever. Punches in the break, and Mooncatchers get us back on serve. First time their D-line's had a chance to go out there. They earned the turn on the underthrown huck, and then stayed patient, took the deep shot when it was available, and ended up punching it in. A nice clean break there for Moon. Again, just putting that one out to space to the break side. The defender, Fabry, didn't really have a chance at that, and always trailing because, you know, you mark quite hard on one side, and it means that if you do give up the break, you do leave yourself vulnerable. Five Spring Tour events going on this weekend, as well as here in Padova. Coverage from Grenoble, in the heart of the Alps, Brno, Malmö, and London as well. So much ultimate for you to watch. As that pull, what a diamond, right to the back of the end zone. And the throw looking underneath for Fantini, one of the standouts of that Italian mixed side that got to the finals at EUC. He couldn't reel it in. Lynch is such a formidable thrower. Gets the reset back from Jaquez. And pick in the centre is going to send this back. Just going to have a look at the replay. A couple of players getting in as a defender. If you are unable to keep up with the player that you are guarding because someone gets in the way, whether that be an opposition member or one of your own teammates, you get the chance to call the pick. You see the hand signal there, the two arms out, parallel to the flat ground, elbows at right angles. And another one is going to send the disc back to Lynch. Lynch this time takes the reset to Jaquez. Only going backwards at the moment here, Mooncatchers. Struggling a little bit for offensive fluency, but they're able just to reset and keep that stall count ticking over. There's the underneath. That's going to open up the big shot. It's going to have a little bit of hang time. Oh, Fantini, he went up big and early, and he very nearly prevailed. But Jonas Taquin held firm, didn't get it cleanly, but he was able to maintain his focus, composure, recover, and Mooncatchers break again, 3 on the row now. For the Belgians, looking to go one better than they did last season and capture their first European club crown. You see they're just trying to impart as much spin and as much revs on it as possible just to cut through, and Fantini is so close to that one. maybe just a little bit unsure of quite how he didn't get anything on it, because he was so close. And he forced the disc to not be taken cleanly, but good work from Takin to bring it in regardless. See the Mooncatchers coach there, Pierre-Alain Delamine, giving instructions. Long-time player for Mooncatchers and transitioned into a coaching role over the past couple of years, and my God, has he taken to it like a duck to water. Obviously, most notably, I think, the gold medal for Belgium at EUC, Mooncatchers taking down Elite Invite very comfortably in the final. That absolute boat racing of Clapham 15-3, a game that I don't think any of us were expecting. And I think every tournament he's coached at, he's managed to get his team at least into the final. And that is a frankly ludicrous and remarkable record. Dan de Marais has become a real leader, a standout star of European Ultimate. Just helping to impart the defensive game plan there. Ball comes up. It's going to fade and draw towards the far sideline, but it does bounce in bounds as well. I think a slight miscommunication off the ball, who's covering who, but Moon able to recover, and then I'm not sure whether that was turf, but I think, judging by the celebration, he might have got a little piece of that one on the mark. Mooncatchers responded so well to being broken. Here's the deep shot again. A couple of defenders converge on it, but it's slotted in there on a postage stamp to John Bakeman's. Was 3-1, make that 4-1. And as you can see, Mooncatchers understandably enjoying themselves out there right now. Whatever the plan had been for Cotarica during that point, evidently did not quite pay out as they intended. There's the deep shot, the instant pickup and rip. A couple of defenders trying to fly in and get the block there. Like Silvestrini was closest, and Bulgarelli was trying to see if he could just close in there and nip the disc out in front, but the placement and precision just too on point there for the men from Moon. Carclinch with the pull. This is going to hang and float towards the back of the end zone. Oh my word, the edge would have taken it back in bounds. Another absolute stonker of a pull, and then really trying to zip the flick. Too big for the layout of Bulgarelli. Carclinch has the disc in hand. Trying to set the isolation up to Bakemans, the high release, and Bakemans has his third goal of this game. And I think Mooncatchers gave up that early break, and they took that personally. Not sure the flick is the right choice of throw there from Fabry. I get that he wants to get it out of his hands as quickly as possible, but the edge on that is just taking it always away there. from Bogarelli means that despite the layout, he's not going to get it. Gives the disc on a short field. And then the first time may have come back on a pick, but it indicated what the plan was. Get Bakeman's one-on-one on that side. Just make sure he can get, even if it's only a step, that's all you need when you've got to throw the quality of car clinch. 5-1 now, Mooncatchers lead. They're a team that, I think certainly a couple of years ago, they had a reputation for being a little bit streaky, and they would really turn up for the bigger games, but often against not lesser opposition necessarily, but they certainly had those games where teams you'd expect them to win, and win pretty comfortably, that they just kind of laid an egg at times. But over the past few years, and this is credit to the mentality and the professionalism almost there, it's so rare that you get that now from Mooncatchers. They are always right on it. Contini as Valentini. This is a bit better now from Cotarica. When they get the disc moving and they get a bit more rhythm and flow about their offense, it's so much easier to watch. Leading pass towards the far sideline, and that is punched in there. That's Turchi to Contini. Often you see that snood up over his face, and he looks a little bit like a cat burglar, but maybe he used some of that quickness and fleetness of foot there to work his way free to the far side, and it is demonstrating and illustrating the value of the Mooncatchers pulling, because a couple of times when they forced them right to the back of the end zone, or it's been a slow pickup because the disc has bounced out of the sideline and the defense has got set, it's been quite stifling and suffocating. But this time they weren't able to get in place as quickly, and it allowed Cotarica just to settle into their game plan for the point a little bit better, and a nice simple score in the end from Turchi to Contini, and that will do their confidence the world of good. First time we've seen Moon's own line for a while. Little blade over the top there from Blasman to Demarais. Sees the hammer towards the far side and takes it. On top going short. Ooh, the blade there from Blasman, a little bit too casual and nonchalant. Hits the ground early, and Demarais can't get his fingers underneath to scoop it. Down the far sideline. In stride. Pietro Balducci makes it 5-3, and maybe Moon's O-line being off the field for a few points just lost their focus slightly. Certainly their D-line seems to have been more clinical than their offense has so far. Maybe part of that is Cotarica themselves being able to get their defense out there and throw maybe slightly more complicated and complex looks. Simple, that one. Down the far sideline. Santorini, I think, the thrower. Balducci, the receiver. And it's 5-3. We've got a game on our hands, folks, and this is exactly what you wanted to see. You give up 5 on the spin. It could be so easy to let your heads drop and say, actually, maybe this isn't our game, but credit to Cotarica because they still believe. As well they should. That one is going to sit up, and that's a brilliant take there. That disc was ever rising, but Ben Yonkers was equal to it. Or blading again, here's Bontemps. Feathering to Blasman. Mooncatchers maybe looking to transition into an end zone set. I don't think. In fact, I'm pretty sure that Bonton wasn't the original target. I think was looking for Yonkers down the line, but Bonton there just knew maybe that hopefully I'm not needed here, but it's always good to have that backup available just in case. And Bonton has a real nose for the end zone, a proper finisher's instinct. And he sweeps in behind there, collecting the throw, which I'm pretty sure was intended for Yonkers from Demarais. Or actually, given that he didn't fully go for it, maybe he did get the call from Bonton to say, actually, you know what, I'm in a much easier position on this one, so just leave that for me. We'll get the goal. And it's 6-3 to Mooncatchers. A nice clean hold there for the. It's going to be fascinating to see the rankings for each team in the algorithm at the end of this weekend. Obviously, it'll be difficult to knit everything together without that much connectivity. Here's a deep shot from Cotarica, and just leaking behind the defence there. Andrea Bulgarelli makes it 6-4. Got that one up nice and early. There was another receiver and another defender in the area, but again, communication from Cotarica says, I'm in a better position. I'm going to bring this down, and the defenders trailing in coverage didn't really have a play on it. Pumps it first time, and then he sees that separation deep, and Contini's already in the area, but he has a look around and knows that Bulgarelli's in a better position. Samuel Rochello, the thrower, again, one of those young players who stepped up in a huge way for Italy's mixed side at EUC, despite sending players that were all under 24s, made it all the way to the final, picked up some huge results on the way, beat Germany in the power pools, huge victory over Ireland on Universe in the semi-finals, the home nation as well, so yeah, a big victory there, and they came unstuck against a frankly brilliant France side in the final, but certainly no shame in the silver medal. Glassman with a little push pass to Yonkers, the two of them playing with jazz with one another in the backfield. Demarais trying to manipulate the mark. Yashinsky takes a step towards as he catches. Glassman, there we go. You know that's always in his locker. The scuba over to unleash that space on the far side. Yonkers sees the little thread through. Yashinsky back to Yonkers. Gets it out of his hands quickly. Plenty of space here for Bonton. Mark eventually closes in. Try to shut down those angles. Ort. Low release. Sits that one out. And Demarais now just a couple of steps outside the end zone. Fakes the option down the line. Not there. Force comes across to cover. And he takes the swing to Ort. And there's a pick downfield. Just frustrates you a little bit as an offense when the spacing's not quite there, and it just causes you to lose that rhythm and momentum, and it does take a couple of seconds to get things going again. The inside flick, absolutely ripped, well handled, because that was a quick adjustment necessary there from Demarais. But when they've movement going, he gets the continuation to Andrew Delace, and it's 7-4 to Mooncatchers. Games to 15 here, so half at 8. And with just 25 minutes gone, with cap coming on at 70 minutes, we are zipping towards the midway mark in this contest. Yeah, just ever so slightly behind Demarais, but able to spin and adjust. Plenty of action from all over Europe. The spring invites this weekend, and there's loads more coming in the next few weeks as well. Vienna's spring break is next week, Tom's tourney the week after, and then maybe the biggest early season tournament of them all, the chance for the first teams to already book their place at EUCF at the end of the season. Elite invite in 3 weeks' time, when 8 of the best teams in all 3 divisions battle it out in Leuven. Loads of space there underneath for Ruscello. Although a little bit of a riser, Contini couldn't grab it, and I think they tried to catch the second effort, the defender there, just to make sure there wasn't any chance, but in the end it flutters to the floor, and Car Clinch will pick up probably about 2/3 of the way down the field. Swinging into a more central position, giving the Spurs more space to attack down the flanks. Betrancourt. The Clarkinch is just happy just to take those little tossed resets, and knows that eventually they'll get the big gainer downfield if they just keep moving. There he sees the look that he likes. Well handled. In the red zone now, just 10 yards away maybe. A little bit of sit on the swing. Okay, it just bounces it inside there to Car Clinch. Got a wide open reset. Got to take that in there. Abeltinch to his fellow Latvian. Car Clinch, and then gets it back. Spins all the way around with the disc. Again, just bouncing it through Car Clinch. He's just acting as like a little pinball bumper at the moment. Marquez. This is really disciplined end zone ultimate from Mooncatchers, the sort we didn't used to associate with them necessarily. They were so good at finding the tricky little throws to get themselves out of these jams. Maybe that one is it. The blade towards the back corner, that's a brilliant reception. Running out of room towards the back of the end zone, but completely unfazed. Good field awareness and presence. Defender put up a hand, couldn't get there, and that will take us into half-time with an 8-4 lead for Mooncatchers. Jerome Derrida with the goal. This is why Abeltinch and Car Clinch are such a good fit for Mooncatchers, that yes, they can play in the systems and obviously incredible athletes as well, but they do play with a little bit of flair and swag at points that fits in really well with the confidence that Mooncatchers have. So at half-time, you do have a change of ends, and I say a change of ends. It's not necessarily a change of ends, but whatever the game started as, you have the opposite of that. So Mooncatchers started the game in the end zone towards our right-hand side, so they'll start in the end zone towards our left in the second half. And they also started the game on offense, which means they will be pulling from that left-hand end zone to begin the second half, as Cotarica Grandes did to begin the first. couple of other games going on in this division here in Padova at the moment. Bad Skid have a 5-2 lead on Disco Bolo, with Bad Skid trying to find their first win of the weekend. Certainly, if you'd said that at the start, before play kicked off yesterday, I think you'd have been very surprised. Disco Bolo have managed to notch a victory. They beat Red Bulls 15-13 in the Interpool crossovers. One Tribe, formerly Alligators from the ultimate hotbed of Bologna, they have an 8-4 lead on Caccia Graz. Ranelagh, European champions a couple of years ago, they lead Red Bull 7-3, and BFD La Forza have a 7-4 advantage over Panthers Burn as we begin the second half here in Padova. Mooncatchers versus Cotarica. Oh, that was risky because the defender flashed in and came so close to smuggling that one away. The lefty, Fabri, puts some air underneath it. Rochelle tries to read it, so does Contini. A huge crowd of players, and 96 and 99 come down with it. That's Rochelle for Cotarica and car clinch for Mooncatchers, who seems convinced that he got it first. If it's simultaneous possession, it's agreed that both players caught it at the same time, then the tie goes to the offense. It would be a Cotarica disc, and because it was in the end zone, a Cotarica score. But my initial instinct was that Carclint actually got his paws on it, got control of that one first. They're going to have the discussion here. I say under a crowd of bodies, it's always nice to see players come down without any incident.
It's not working.
The two players cannot agree on the outcome. It'll be contested and sent back to the thrower Fabri, and one suspects that he might holster it this time round, given that how that previous time turned out. Also, it's going to be a bit more difficult to get that huck off now that he kind of doesn't have that forward momentum from that upline cut. A lot harder to power that disc deep from a standstill with the force right in front of you. Fantini down the far sideline. Might be another deep option. Fantini's going for it, but and a bit more circumspect with it this time, the Italians. Fantini really trying to marshal this possession. Here's Fabri. Rochelle comes underneath. Fabri gets it back. Fantini just wanted the little offload there, but instead it's Valentini down the line. Infield to Fabri. Fabri, oh, he finds that little window through, a little bit of inside-out shape, just to cut through that space. And Fantini unveils himself at the back of the end zone for the clean Cotarica hold. Were they a little bit fortunate that the initial huck that went back was contested, wasn't turned over? It's tricky to know, but I think you see it in a lot of sports actually, where when you get the second chance, you think, okay, maybe we had a little bit of a let off, even if it was legitimate to send the disc back on the contested call. I'm not questioning that at all, but you see it, for example, in cricket when a batter's dropped, you think, oh no, and they take the opportunity to dig in and try and go big and really make the most of the opportunity they were given. Maybe in football, a goalkeeper's caught out of position and a striker misses an open goal, and they think, okay, now I'm going to really make up for the fact that we've still got something more in this game. Balducci with the pull. Yonkers to Blasman. Coming out in the zonal defense. Just trying to stop movement downfield. Maybe feeling that if they just go straight one-to-one marking against Mooncatchers, they maybe have a little bit too much. Adventurous throw across the field, reeled in by Bontom, who offloads quickly. And he wants the disc back. So they're not stopping this, so why not just take it? A little bit of a collision, but it's going to cause a stoppage, but I think everyone's okay. Going to be checked in on the far sideline, staying in the hands of Demarais. Just a little pop-up line to Yonkers. Fakes the hammer. Not going to pull the trigger on this occasion. Back into the toolbox it goes. Azor just outside the end zone, showing the push pass. But trying to get a bit more lateral space perhaps. Demarais, just that little jump step. Gets the defender biting, and he takes that upline space, demands it, and gets it. Beat Paradisi, who is certainly no slouch as a defender, but didn't stand too much of a chance. It looks like they've maybe pulled a little bit of a switch on the mark there. Trying to be a bit more proactive about stopping that, rolling the defenders, saying, you know, rather than me trying to run past you to catch up with the player I'm marking, I'll just pick up the force, it's a little bit closer and you can push off to pick up Demarais there, but they weren't able to get that off in time, and credit to Mooncatchers for realising that, getting the throw out nice and early. And Demarais gets them on the board in the second half, 9-5 they lead. You can probably see now on the camera that the rain coming down now in Padova. Some of you may recognise the venue as the location of last year's EUCS, the European Youth Ultimate Championships. That one, the underneath pass did not have anywhere near as much time as he thought, and a straight run through D. Abeltinch will pick it up right on the end zone line. Couldn't quite score it with that first pass, and maybe just a little bit too close on the mark. It's tricky to tell without being privy to those conversations. Fantini is the force. Checked in. Abeltinch puts it out into space, but no one was making that cut. And that might be the first time that Mooncatchers' D-line has actually surrendered the disc back to Cotarica. Valentini trying to make the most of the second opportunity. That's not the way to do it though. The throw is a little bit behind, trying to get the inside out throw, cutting across the body. Didn't lead it out far enough into space, hit the inside rather than the outside shoulder, and that allowed the defender just to help disrupt it. Derrida plays it short, and Demesmaker goes back to Derrida. Inside that time. I think the momentum and speed of Abeltinch just meant that he couldn't quite slow his steps, chop them quickly enough to get his body in just a stable position to catch that. Maybe the rain making the disc a little bit slipperier, maybe a little bit more difficult to slow down. First point in this game we've seen each side have multiple turnovers. There's the option down the line, it's going to float, but I think that's going to come down in bounds. It is indeed. And Cotarica made to work for that one, but Lorenzo Turci makes it 9-6. And just going to take a little bit of a rest on the fence at the back. Just sits that one up there. Defender doesn't have a play on it. All he has to do is make sure that it's going to come down in bounds, and in the end he doesn't really even have to toe that one in. And you can really see the rain coming down ever heavier. Teams warming up on the sidelines for their next games. Believe we're going to show you mixed power pool action between Kook from Paris and Cotarica from Munich in Germany, next division. And that is a really intriguing game in prospect. Here's Ort, catching underneath towards this near sideline. Looking more like a traditional match defence here for the Italians, although you can see that they're just sitting off the hands a little bit. I think they're happy to let the disc swing laterally, especially with the conditioning, in order to prevent downfield movement. Take away the big play on just so often thrive. Ort has a player wide open, suspiciously open in fact, and I think that's going to be another pick. Pompisi is going to catch up somewhat, but I don't think he's going to be able to close that gap the whole way. I think that is the discussion about how close he was, because you need to be closely guarded, which is kind of give or take 3 meters, I think the rule used to be, before they changed the wording. Inside throw to Delace, who has decided to don the gloves now that we've got the rain. Yonkers to Demaret. Running the 1-2, low catch that he snags. Or continues the up line, but Demaret decides against it. Delace, or towards the front cone, past the bidding defender. Valiant attempt there from Bellafiore, but he couldn't get a paw on it. And Benort makes the comfortable, I say comfortable enough for a player like Benort catch. And that is 10-6. Again, teams just trading for the last few points. And, you know, Mooncatchers won't mind, because as long as they can convert all their offensive points, they will win this game and win it relatively handily. It's up to Cotarica to really find a way back into it. The pattern and the rhythm of the game suits the Belgians right now. It is looking thoroughly miserable out there in Padova. Surveying the Multi TV poll cam. Our coverage here on Solid Sport as that throw is low-balled, skims the grass there from Fabri, didn't give Fantini a chance. Great red zone opportunity this, too many unforced errors this game from the Italians. Can Mooncatchers capitalise? Bakemans collects the offhand throw. Faking towards the end zone. Not seeing an option he likes though. Stall count rising. And Fabri just trying to sit in that space. Took his eyes off Maker and he sticks it at the backcourt. 11-5 now, Mooncatchers. Always in a good spot, I think, when you're further ahead of your opponent than you need points to win. 4 points would give them the victory here. Game to 15, 4, unless of course the cap comes on. And they're 5 points ahead, needing 4 more. That's a very good position to be in. Is that scoring past Bergman's? Looking at the end zone, didn't quite see the space that he wanted with the score count rising. Maybe just a little bit of Fabry losing sight of his matchup. Dressmaker cuts the back cone, and Bakeman's curls it into him. 6 lead. Game 70 minutes plus cap, or a score cap of 15. Floating pool. Bought on the full by Bulgarelli. There's a deep shot from Cotarica, is trying to expand the verticality of their offense. Going to require a bit, is it? Oh, Samuel Rochello, he can really eat up the grass when he needs to, but asked too much of him that time. The offense had been getting quite compressed, and he had steps behind the defenders there, so not a bad decision to put it, but just over-egged it. Clinch now cuffed as well. Stoppage downfield, another pick, I think. A couple of times we've seen that where those players are a little bit too close together downfield, and it means the defenders just coming across each other there. That's something that I think Mooncatchers would like to clean up when they review the footage. Clinch. Near side as we look at it. That's a spicy one. It's going to invite pressure, but Clinch is so assured and dominant in the air, and always had the read and the eyes on that one. It's a step there from Joquez. That's a brilliant layout. Snagged that. Stuck right in there, close to the ground. Fantini pressures Clinch. Gets the foot down in bounds. Or at least I thought that he did, but maybe he's saying that even if he didn't, there was a force out foul anyway. If you're trying to make sure that you catch the disc in bounds, but you're not able to establish control in the field because you felt that contact from it was pushing you out of the pitch. Call that a force out foul. Okay, slides on the floor. There's going to be a stoppage for a foul. Luca Valentini is the defender. I think saying there was just a little bit of a shove in there. Still Mooncatchers disc. Cotarica really forcing them to grind it down the field on this possession. Joquez says no. It's going to the big man, Carkland. Hey, when maybe you need a little bit of inspiration, divine intervention, Clinch can definitely provide that. Ruling the scuff over a pack of Italian defenders and pulling up their opponents. Hugely impressive performance this from Mooncatchers when you consider that Cotarica Grandes were undefeated this weekend coming into this game. Doesn't see the movement downfield. Joquez collects and then decides to roll the dice, but when you're backing the big man Clinch, I think that's an understandable gamble. Just hanging that one up there. A couple of defenders there. But Arvid Karklinch. What Arvid Karklinch does. So we've got a timeout here on the field, with me leading 12-6 here at the Spliver. Mooncatchers trying to accelerate towards the finish line here. Under a veritable downfall in Paducah. 12-6. The Brussels outfit lead Cotarica Grandes from Rimini here in Italy. Out on the east coast for those kind of unfamiliar with Italian geography. On the Adriatic coastline. Turchi. Oh my word, that is not what the doctor ordered. This game is slipping through their fingers rather rapidly now, at a real rate of knots. Derrida to pick up. Just trying to get that first cut. Put a name on it towards the front cone, but swinging instead to Abeltinch. Get a bounce back. There you see again, just switch the matchups on the force to get the defender in the better position. Sneaks it past the covering defender. They've got the open reset available, but Derrida instead. Getting low to break that one around, and just about able to hold the feet down in bounds there, Notaris. 13-6. It's a 7-2 scoreline. Sorry, I can't count. 5-2 scoreline in the second half, really, for Mooncatchers as they went into the break. 8-4 up. And not that it's a surprise to anyone, but really displaying their credentials early on in this game. In this season, even. Defender just kind of sitting on the open side a couple of steps and trusting the force there to defend that side of the field for them, but Derrida very clever there, not just pivoting kind of laterally on one plane, but utilising the fact, you know, you've got that full 360 available slightly backwards, so he can really roll that one around the mark of Fantini, put that one out into space for Notaris, his first goal of the weekend, by the way. Steepening pool that comes down slowly and gives Mooncatchers time to get into position. This is where Cotarica Grandes have struggled when they haven't been able to get any flow and movement off the pool. It seems like they're setting up quite far away, and I'd maybe like to see them just come a little bit closer and just allow for a couple of short passes just to get them into motion. Fabri. Low for Contini, stuck out his left hand, but he couldn't quite clasp those fingers round it. And he looked a little bit dejected as he jogged away, ready to play defence. One pass towards the break side, another just tipped it out into too easy, that one for Notom. And this might actually come back. Notom has got the disc in his hands, and he is going to send that one back. Didn't quite see why. Of course, looking at the reception there and kind of missed what was going on in the centre of the field. Louis Betrancourt was the thrower, and he'd been playing a couple of years, making the switch from football, and he's just He's so athletic and he's so instinctive, and he's become a real key player for Mooncatchers already, despite his relatively young ultimate age. High stall though, just trying to put some air underneath it, see if he can give someone a chance, but it sails and tails out of bounds. Italian disc once more. That's a riser, too high. Ruscello just caught underneath it. Betrancourt picks it off, and Fantini! What a play that is to get the disc back. Lays out, slides through, gets it so clean, and then quickly sets himself, gets back into motion because he sees now this is an opportunity to make something of this. But Ruscello. Looking big. He's got a player in behind. It's going to sit up a little bit, but Bavia has all the time in the world to get Cotarica back on the board. Still a huge amount of work for them to do in this game, and with the new algorithm, it behooves you to play right up until the very end. Every point could be crucial at the end of the season, because it's not just the results that factor in, but the score lines as well, the manner of the game. So finishing strongly, even in a game where you are struggling, is so important. And a lot of European sides will be familiar with the Swiss draw format of winless European tournaments, where you really feel the value of every. Here, this feels like it should be an easy throw for Betrancourt, but lovely sleight of hand there from Fantini, gets that so clean, and Ruscello says there's not a lot going on. Close. He sees the defender there just sitting off underneath, almost baiting that one a little bit, and that was all the opportunity they needed for the deep shot to Bavia. Yeah. (13-7) the score here, over 10 minutes before the cap comes on. Pretty sure Cotarica were not onside at that pool, but Mooncatchers don't really seem to mind. A really good pool as well that forces Blasman deep into his own end zone, and the first time we've seen Mooncatchers offense for a while. Yonkers scoots for absolutely wrenching this one deep, and Dan Dimare, I thought he was going to see if he could lay out for it, but maybe decided that he didn't need to, and a throw for more probably sold him a little bit short. If he's able to really pound that all the way to the end zone, I think that's probably a score, but as it is, out of the hand of Dimare, and a break chance here for Cotarica Grandes. Santorini tasked with bringing the disc into that front cone. If the disc turns over in the end zone, you are allowed to bring it to the front. Kicks the cone out of the way, which he doesn't need to do. What did that cone ever do to him? A little bit low and zipped, but over the head of the defender, not a problem for Olivieri. So much space. Wide open is Balducci. Can he get the disc moving quickly as they run it through the free player? Not quite. Didn't take the opportunity and pull the trigger there, with Blasman a little bit out of position. Arcangeli. Everything looking very congested, able to find a little seam through though. All sorts of trap our side. Begin to clear it out a little bit. Looks like there's two players who want that same space. Really sits that backwards. Continues towards this side, Arcangeli. Contorts himself to get the break out towards this side, and as the defense kind of moves with it, Paradisi sends it back the other way, sides it into the center for Zavattini, and that is a Cotarica break. 13-8. You feel like it's probably too late to come all the way back at this point, but certainly, again, every point matters, and you never know, maybe you get a couple on the bounce and you just start to put that seed of doubt, sow it in your opponent's mind. You might have seen there when we zoomed in on the Cotarica shirts after the point. There's it's call it an artistic drawing of a fish on the right sleeve. Of course, the logo of the brilliant tournament Paganello, a world-famous beach tournament that's taken place in Rimini for probably about 30 years at this point. 33 years, I think it is this year. Had that a couple of weeks ago. And it's one of the reasons it's become such a hotbed of ultimate, because, you know, they get the kids playing out there on the beach from age. The tournament brings a, great business into the town. Teams travel from all over the world to be able to take part in 4 occasions. And I think it plays into the Italian style as well. You know, the fact that on the beach, conservation of movement and efficiency is really important. So, you don't want to be stuck in the sand, really. Just kind of keep things moving. So those little quick pops towards the break side with defenders out of position become so much more potent. Blasman to his compatriot Ort. Centres and gets the disc back from Delace. Now that's a pivot out. Well, he was looking for Delace, but we mentioned that he's got that poacher's instinct, Bontemps, and once again he just sneakily slips his way in behind to bring Mooncatchers within 1 of the win. Or does like this, the pivot out, and he really whips it quickly behind Delace, but it's just instinctual for Bontemps. The man was born to score. One away from the win now. Both of these sides will have one more game after this. They'll play the team in the other pool that finished of the standings. So, for Mooncatchers, probably looks like being La Fotta. While Ranelagh will be Grandes, assuming that men close this out. Very, very dark clouds you see there over towards the right-hand side of your picture. We did, of course, have some stoppages and delays yesterday due to thunderstorms. Hopefully we get none of that today, because, of course, it's so much harder to adjust for the schedule on the Sunday when teams have to leave. That throw goes to ground, and this is Mooncatcher's disc with a chance to finish. Long shot, laying out low towards the ground. Betancourt does it superbly. Resets off to Derrida. A couple of players go to cover the up line cut there. Derrida with a stall rising, looking for the inside shot into the end zone. And towards the back of the end zone, coming down inbounds as well for the score. As you see, just pointing out the mark, is the receiver, Jonas Takin, who I think it was intended for Betancourt, but I don't think Takin cares. Mooncatchers won't mind. That 15-8 is the victory. Sides now just going to line up for do some post-match handshakes, and of course they'll have the little spirit circle as well. Talk about the game, talk about the spirit involved, any potential calls or issues they had, so sides can kind of take pointers for next time. But in terms of the scoreline of the game, it was close at the start, especially because Cotarica got that break on the first point, but Mooncatchers really took that personally, rat on the spin, and in truth won value for their 15-8 scoreline of victory. Some good moments and flashes in there from the Italians, but just could not get that on a consistent basis, and way too many really free, cheap turnovers for Mooncatchers, who maybe they had a slice of luck at points, but that's, I think, credit to their players for being alert and aware to collect those offline throws, potential missed opportunities. Just, again, the more you gamble on those things, the more good opportunities you put yourself into. 15-8 here, final score from the Spring Invite in Padova. Don't go anywhere because our coverage here on Solid Sport continues on the other side.